Hello everybody, this is the Starving Martian, and my friend here is, well, why don't I let him introduce himself?
I am C3PO, human-cyborg relations. How might I serve you?
This is, of course, as he just mentioned, C3PO. This is the Star Wars Episode 1 12-inch Electric Talking C3PO. And he's pretty neat. We're going to show him off in a second, but he's going to say something first. Go ahead, 3PO, what have you got to say?
Come back at once. You haven't finished with me yet.
Yeah, 3PO gets a bit impatient if you don't interact with him. But this was put out in 1999 with the rest of the Star Wars Episode 1 toy line. And, this look...
Come back at once. You haven't finished with me yet.
This look for 3PO, now that he's done interrupting me, is actually my favorite look for the character. Say what you will about the movie. Personally, it's not my favorite Star Wars movie, but I also don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. I enjoy it a lot more than I enjoyed Rogue One. But that's a story for another day. Anyway, this particular figure is based off of his naked look, his unplated look that he has in Episode 1 when he's just been assembled by young Anakin Skywalker. And so he's got a lot of really neat details going on. Let's get in close on his head. It's a great face. You can see all the wires, the doodads and gizmos. There's the wires in his torso. And in his arms as well. Individually painted, sculpted and everything. So gears in his hips. Again, wires coming down the legs. And all the way to the feet. And if we turn the figure around, okay, this guy's a little bit top heavy, and you can see why. It's this big backpack area over here. So sometimes once you get him standing, you just want to leave him alone. Okay, but you can see the details continue onto the back of his head. There's that backpack. That's where the batteries are stored. 3PO runs on 3 AAA batteries. There's a button here that produces sound. We'll get to that in a minute. The details and the wires continue down the back of the legs, the knee joints. Alright, now as you saw, 3PO talks, but he does more than that. This is an interactive action figure, and so you're able to disassemble and reassemble C3PO, and when you do, he has specific things that he'll say depending on how you're treating him. So let's get him activated again.
My parts are showing. My goodness.
Alright, so first thing we're going to do is tear off his arm. I feel bad about this, but it has to be done.
Something's not right. Kindly return my arm at once.
So 3PO senses which part has been taken, and he'll react accordingly.
Kindly put that back.
You can also take off his legs if you want. The legs aren't connected to anything electronic. So,
Something's not right because now I can't see.
that was me pushing the button by accident. So that we could take off the legs. He won't react, but you can do it.
Yes, that's very good.
I don't know why you thought that was very good. So then you end up with this torso here and a bunch of severed limbs.
Kindly return my arm at once.
And you can also, if you really want, remove his faceplate. I recommend you don't do that because it looks horrifying. Of course, we're going to do it anyway.
Something's not right because now I can't see.
There we go. Stare into the face of despair. Stare at it. Look at it! Alright. Let's give him his face back before I give you nightmares.
My parts are showing. My goodness.
That makes his eyes light up, which is pretty cool. Legs, I worry about these bits here getting stressed and worn, so I don't detach the legs. There's no real need to do that. Just did it right now to show you that it can be done. And then the arms snap back into place.
Oh, yes, that's very good.
And he likes it when you put his arms back in. Other arm in the other socket.
I am C3PO, human cyborg relations. How might I serve you?
Alright, 3PO here, besides being interactive, is also extremely posable. He's got joints in his elbows and his shoulders. Now you gotta be careful with them because when you're moving them around, they do have a tendency to either pop off or even just activate his sensor, so he thinks you're taking his arms off, so he'll complain about it. But you could get him into different positions.
Thank you. My arm feels much better now.
Yeah, he gets confused.
I am C3PO, human cyborg relations. How might I serve you?
Sometimes he'll think that you're putting his arm in or out when you're doing the opposite. But you can get his arms into... Come on, there we are.
C3PO, human cyborg relations. How might I serve you?
Into kind of a general walking around stance. His legs also very posable. Could bring them out that far. You swing back all the way. They have really good knee joints. The ankles pivot. There's a hinge here, but it's really tight, and I don't like to move it if I don't have to. If you don't feel like tearing his arms off, but you want to hear him talk, I showed off that button on the back, and it'll go cycle through all his various sayings.
My, kindly put that back.
And also, once you're done assembling him, let's say you want to weld him together and make sure all his parts stay put and just do a little bit of touch-up work. He's got 3 holes that are visible right here in the center of his torso.
Back at once. You haven't finished with me yet.
And so what you do is you take this welding tool that he comes with and you insert it, which makes his torso light up. Like I said, there's 3 holes, 2 prongs on this. There's always a center hole here that pushes down on the button to activate. So whether you do it the whichever side, you'll have the same reaction. So you hit the button again to get him talking, and that's one of the things that the button also does. So if you don't have anything to stick in there, you could cycle through with the button until it lights up.
I am C3PO, human cyborg relations. How might I serve you?
And the button cycles through a predictable pattern. After the light up chest, he'll always say I am C3PO.
My path is showing. My goodness. Something's not right because now I can't see. Oh, yes, that's very good. Kindly return my arm at once. Oh, thank you. My arm feels much better now. Oh, my, kindly put that back.
Alright, so that's everything that the 3PO does. So this guy's a little bit rare. Most of the samples I found online shipped from either England or Japan. So I don't know if he was sold in greater quantities over there. I found mine on...
Back at once. You haven't finished with me yet.
I found mine on eBay. I paid about $30 for him after shipping, which was the lowest I had found for a new one. So I'd recommend, if you're getting this guy, get him new. Just because, you know, if it's used, you don't know how many times...
Back at once. You haven't finished with me yet.
If he's used, thank you, you don't know how many times his parts have been pulled on and off and how weak the joints have gotten. But, anywho, with Star Wars Last Night in the... Last Jedi, rather. Got it confused with Transformers for a second there. With Star Wars Last Jedi in the theater right now, I thought it'd be a good time to show off this guy here. Again, one of my favorite looks for C3PO. So let me know in the comment section, guys, what's your favorite look for 3PO? Is it his classic golden look, the red arm of the Force Awakens, or are you in the same camp as me and like this radically different approach? So this has been the Starving Martian. Hope you guys enjoyed this look at the Star Wars Episode 1 Electronic Talking C3PO. We'll catch up with you next time. Remember, guys, watch the skies.